Good evening, everyone. My name is Allison Kaplan. I'm Director of Education at the National First Ladies Library, located at the National First Ladies Library, or National First Ladies Historic Site in Canton, Ohio. And I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. This is, I believe, our fourth annual Turkey Pardon program. It's part of our Fun with FLOTUS program that is right now still a virtual program, but we're hoping to start up hybrid. So we'll continue to be virtual for those of you who are connecting with us across the country, and then we'll have some more from Canton as well. So again, this is a kids program. Hopefully you are in front of the computer with your child if you're a caregiver, and you can help guide them through this evening's program. As always, I am in the webinar format for these programs, so we can't see each other, but you can share with me in the chat. And we do have some quizzes. Sometimes we do Kahoots and other things that I'll put up on the screen. Tonight's going to be really fun. If you've been with us before, we'll do some of the similar things we've done in past years, but some new things as well. So we are going to take a look at the Turkey Pardon, which isn't usually something that the First Lady participates in. The pardon is usually given by the president because the president has the power to pardon, right? But the history of Thanksgiving actually has a connection to a very cool woman in history. And there have been a couple of first ladies who have swapped in for the president and helped to conduct the Turkey Pardon, as well as some first kids. So we're going to talk about some interesting Thanksgiving traditions. And we're actually going to start with a little quiz tonight. So let's see if I can pull this up, and maybe I can't. I'm not seeing it. Well, we will get to that in a little bit. Oh, here it is, polls. It's been a little while. So have you ever played the game Would You Rather? So you have to choose one thing or the other thing. So this is my Thanksgiving version. I figured as people were getting here, we could do this. We're going to launch our little quiz, and you can read it together on your screen. Would you rather rake leaves on Thanksgiving or shovel snow on Christmas? Would you rather sit at the kids' table or sit at the adult table? Would you rather cook Thanksgiving dinner or clean up Thanksgiving dinner? And would you rather use your spoon for the whole meal or use your fork for the whole meal? Would you rather eat cranberry sauce or candied yams? And would you rather swim in a pool of cranberry sauce or swim in a pool of gravy? So those are my questions today. They're up on the screen. I'm going to give you a minute to answer them, and we'll share them, and then we'll get started with the program tonight. Sound fun? And if you want, sometimes we have people say hello and where they're from. So if you want to share that in the chat, I'm having some issues when I click over to the chat, it stops my share screen, but you're always welcome to share there too. So we'll give you a few more seconds to finish it up. And you don't have to do this, it's just optional. Thought it would be something super fun. And I've got my turkey here with us as usual. Okay, so I am going to give you one more second, and we'll end our poll and we'll share the results really quick, and then we'll get started. So would you rather rake leaves on Thanksgiving? More people said rake leaves on Thanksgiving than shovel snow on Christmas, and I totally get that. I don't know if you're from somewhere around the world where there is snow, but it's already snowing where I live in Ohio. Would you rather sit at the kids' table? It looks like most people would like to sit at the kids' table. Would you rather cook dinner or clean up? People would rather clean or cook than clean. People would rather use their spoon than their fork. That's pretty interesting. Cranberry sauce wins over candied yams. And let's see, swim in a pool of cranberry sauce over a pool of gravy. I think that would be the best too. I like the color of cranberry sauce. I wouldn't mind um, being kind of purple afterwards. Uh, so that is my Would You Rather Thanksgiving edition. I'll stop sharing that one. And let's see. And we'll get started. Here we go. So happy Thanksgiving again. Everyone has their own ways that they like to celebrate Thanksgiving. Throughout history, people have given thanks. Sometimes in joyful celebrations, sometimes they're solemn, sometimes they're prayerful, sometimes they have ceremonies. So in the US, over hundreds of years, people have come to observe some sort of holiday to give thanks. We're going to talk today about how it took on a national form and became part of our history. So we're going to look at the roots of Thanksgiving, and we're going to start with talking about Sarah Hale. So have you heard of Sarah Hale before? I'm going to put that up on my screen as my quiz. And if you are joining us from the East Coast, you might have heard from about her before, but she's not someone that I had heard of until I started celebrating these turkey pardon programs with you all. So a few of you have, and a few of you haven't. So I want to share a little bit about her, and I'm going to share some pictures of her here in a second. So I'm going to end my poll. Here's my results. So 62% of you have not heard of Sarah Hale. Some of you have, and you might have heard of her as the person who helped make Thanksgiving a national holiday. You might have heard of her as the writer who created the rhyme, Mary Had a Little Lamb. She wrote a lot of different poems and was published as a poet and was very successful as a poet. She also helped to restore Mount Vernon and make it into a national landmark. She did a lot of things. So here we are with Mary Had a Little Lamb. She was also the publisher, or she called the editress, excuse me, of a magazine. She was the first female editor of a magazine, and it was called Godey's Ladies Book, and it was kind of a fashion magazine at the time. It had these really beautiful prints that you see up on the screen, decorated and sometimes even colored like they are here. It shared household items and some recipes, but she also wrote her own editorials. And in editorials, a piece where you speak your mind about what you believe. And she really believed that Thanksgiving should become a national holiday. Her father was a Revolutionary War veteran, and George Washington had written a proclamation of Thanksgiving to observe a day of Thanksgiving, but not everyone across the East Coast celebrated it. People celebrated it different days in different ways, and she really thought it was important for it to happen as a national holiday and that it would bring people together. So she wrote stories about it in the magazine, as well as a lot of other editorials. So I think she's a really interesting woman. Show you some more pictures. Godey's Lady Book. This is the letter, one of the letters written in the, I think we'll show maybe an image in the book of a proclamation. And then she's actually from New Hampshire. So this is a sculpture, if you're in New Hampshire, that you can see that represents her. And I love it because it shows kind of all of the different things that she helped to do. And you can see the Washington Monument there too. So, whoops. So she played a big role in really helping to build this country's history and telling its story and creating this time for reflection. So she's really interesting person. And she's actually buried in Philadelphia. So if you live near Philadelphia, you can visit with her, visit her grave. Uh, so we have a little family guide that you can download, and we sent you all the link for that. And there's an activity you can do inspired by her too. So you can make your own quill pen and write your own letters if you want to, in the way that Sarah Hale did, or you can write what you're grateful for and do a little gratitude exercise. So that's something that we did when we met in person for this program. And this year, every year we've read a book for our Pardon That Turkey. This year we have a new book, and Sarah Hale is in it. I really like it because it combines a lot of ideas and things that we've talked about. So it's called Giving Thanks, and it's by Denise Kiernan. And Jamie Kristoff illustrated it. It just came out this year. We have a whole reading list of really fun books you can look at about gratitude related to Thanksgiving and presidential history and first ladies. So we hope that you check those out too, if you like this one, because there's more than one about Sarah Hale out there now, which is really cool. So we'll get started with our story. For as long as there have been humans on the earth, there has also been gratitude. People have said thank you to each other. They have felt lucky, and they have been grateful for all sorts of things. Some people are grateful for food. Some are grateful for the rain and the sun. Others feel gratitude for their family and friends. What are you grateful for? And if you want, you can put that in the chat. No matter how they say it, it all means the same thing. Merci, miigwech, medawase, gamsahanda. They are all thankful for what they have, big and small. Sarah Josepha Hale lived in America in the 1800s. She loved writing stories. She loved helping others. She loved to cook. Most of all, Sarah thought it was important to show gratitude. Back then, communities chose special days to say thank you all at once. Those days were called Thanksgivings. Families and friends gathered together to sing their favorite songs and share their favorite foods. In Sarah's family and many other families, they ate turkey and cranberries and pumpkin pie. Sarah thought every family should make those foods for Thanksgiving. But when Sarah was growing up, Thanksgiving wasn't always on the same day each year. Different places celebrated Thanksgiving at different times for different reasons. Sometimes Thanksgiving was in October. Some towns might have Thanksgiving in November or December. And some kinds of Thanksgivings might even happen in May. There are always reasons to have gratitude after all. Sarah wanted Thanksgiving to be at the same time every year, all across America. She wanted everyone to share their gratitude with the people they loved on the same day. She thought it would bring all sorts of people closer together if they chose one day each year to share what they were grateful for. But what could she do? She wrote letters to people all over, telling them about how important Thanksgiving was and that they should all celebrate it at the same time each year. She could write, and she wrote about Thanksgiving in magazines and books. She wrote governors. She wrote Americans living in faraway lands. She even wrote the President of the United States. Some people agreed with Sarah's ideas. Others did not. But Sarah never gave up. She wrote President after president. Year after year, she wrote President Zachary Taylor, President Millard Fillmore, President Franklin Pierce, and President James Buchanan. Sarah believed someone would eventually say yes. So Sarah tried again. She wrote President Abraham Lincoln. There he is. President Lincoln agreed with Sarah. He announced to all people in America that they should celebrate Thanksgiving on the same day in November, November 26, 1863. But that year, the country was in the middle of a civil war. The Union was fighting against the Confederacy. People were fighting with their neighbors. Sometimes brothers were fighting against each other. The country was split in two. Many people wanted their own separate country. Many people wanted to end slavery once and for all. It was a painful year. And in times like that, it can be hard to find gratitude. Even during the war, people did find things to be grateful for, like having enough to eat, having somewhere to live, or being able to help others who needed it. People all over celebrated Thanksgiving however they could. Some celebrated in fields, some celebrated on ships, some celebrated in hospitals, and some celebrated at home. But not everyone thought eating turkey was a good idea, like Sarah had suggested. President Lincoln's son, Tad, wanted to keep a turkey as a pet instead. So President Lincoln let him. And nowadays, the President of the United States continues this tradition and pardons a turkey at the White House each year and sets it free. From 1863 forward, Thanksgiving has been celebrated in America at the end of every November. Over the years, new things have been added to the Thanksgiving weekend, like parades and football games. Some people choose this holiday as a time to help those in need. What is your favorite thing about Thanksgiving? No matter what we do, where we are, or how we celebrate, one thing always stays the same. There is always a reason for gratitude for things great and small. Thanksgiving Day can be every day. So that's a new one. I really like this story because it brings together Sarah Hale and the idea of the way we celebrate Thanksgiving now, the idea of gratitude and reflecting and thinking about the past, and thinking about gratitude even during hard times. And then it even touches on the turkey pardon, which is what we're going to talk about now. But I have some more polls because I really like the polls this year. Let's see. I have a gratitude poll. So a few people said what they're grateful for in the chat. So we have people being grateful for family members getting together, for their dads or for their sisters. I have a new niece or nephew on the way, so I'm really grateful to meet a new family member before the year is out. So if you want to share what you're grateful for, we have a few suggestions here, but you can also, and you can choose, I think for this one, you can choose as many as you want. So we have family, friends, good health, pets, teachers, safety, nature, sports and extracurricular activities, good food, video games, entertainment, books. I know you can tell that I really like books. I like picture books and I like to read novels. So I'm really excited to curl up with a good book over this Thanksgiving time. So let's see, we'll end our poll. And if there's something that you're grateful for that's not on there that you want to share in the chat, feel free to. And I will share our results. So we have family came up number one, friends, good health. People like to spend time in nature. People are excited about food. So lots of things to be grateful for. So Now we're going to talk a little bit about the turkey pardon, but there was another cool thing I was thinking about, some more historical tidbits related to Thanksgiving. So we were talking in the book reading that Thanksgivings weren't all celebrated on the same day previously. And so there was a period after Lincoln proclaimed Thanksgiving as a national holiday and a date was decided that um, we actually had a change of Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving was up in the air. And that was called what was called by the press at the time Franksgiving. And you can see First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt up on the screen with her husband, who happened to be President Franklin Roosevelt. So after Lincoln established Thanksgiving as a holiday, every president who followed him continued to celebrate Thanksgiving on the fourth Thursday in November until FDR in 1939. The National Retail Dry Goods Association asked him to lengthen the shopping season by making it the third Thursday in November. People got really upset. They called it Franksgiving, and 23 states went along with it, and 23 states refused. Colorado and Texas celebrated both days. Following the uproar, Congress passed a joint resolution officially declaring the fourth Thursday Thanksgiving, and FDR agreed and signed it into law. So that is pretty, I think, pretty funny. And we always talk about right after Thanksgiving, and sometimes on Thanksgiving Day, stores open and people get really grumbly about it. So people were doing this and getting really grumbly about it, even in 1939, thinking about the holiday shopping season. So that is a fun Thanksgiving history bit that you can share. So what about this presidential pardon of a turkey? How did it happen and what did it look like? And who was the first president to officially pardon a turkey? Well, in the 1920s, it actually was a pretty elaborate feat. So here you can see some of the boxes and crates that a turkey gift would come to the president in. So in 1920, getting a turkey to the president and first lady was super elaborate. Everyone wanted to win over the president and would send a gift of a turkey. And they would travel in really elaborate crates like the one that you see here. They kind of remind me of parade floats. So you can see a turkey right here connecting right next to the crates. So let's see. One really cool story related to it is the Harding Girls Club of Chicago furnished President Harding's turkeys and sent them on elaborate road trips. One turkey was sent in an aviation helmet and goggles on an airplane, but it got airsick and it had to finish the trip by train. And the Coolidges actually discouraged people from sending turkeys. But here's another really cool story that I really love related to Thanksgiving. So in 1925, Grace Coolidge incorporated the Girl Scouts into the presidential Thanksgiving celebration. And she was trying to support a campaign to raise $20,000 for the Girl Scouts. So she ordered a turkey from her home state of Vermont to be cooked by a Girl Scout. And that's the girl you see up on the screen, Leona Baldwin, whose family provided the turkey. The turkey was going to be served up by the Girl Scouts at the Little House, which were these little tea houses that the Girl Scouts had. They had one in DC, and 19 other girls would help her prepare this meal. There would also be a special performance, and the Coolidges and the Hoovers, so two presidents, two first ladies, they were serving, dine on turkey, and there was a little mishap So I think some gravy was spilled on one of the presidents, but afterwards, poor Leona collapsed. The excitement had been too great for her, and her nerves overwhelmed her. But she was really, really proud. And here she is. And here's another image of what those little tea houses look like, because the first ladies were often involved with the Girl Scouts. And back there you saw Lou Hoover, and here you can see Eleanor Roosevelt at one of these houses. But again, the Coolidges were kind of overwhelmed with these turkey gifts. Everybody was trying to send the president or first lady a turkey or some kind of present to the president. And they would even send other animals, because at the time, people would dine on other types of animals. So even though Coolidge said no to a turkey, farmers continued to send him gifts. And even a raccoon was sent to them, and that raccoon became a pet. And you can see Grace Coolidge here with her pet raccoon. That participated in the White House Easter egg roll, wore an embroidered collar on Christmas. She was fed shrimp and eggs. She was let loose in the White House and walked on a leash. And at times she could be mischievous and would unscrew light bulbs and open cabinets. So that's the story of the raccoon that was not served on the Thanksgiving table. But where did this idea of pardoning a turkey come from? So there's a lot of discussion around it. And some people say that President Truman was the first, but at the Truman Library, they don't agree. They said that he received a gift from the National Turkey Federation after he started a poultry initiative, a poultry-free initiative. So getting people not to eat meat on Thursdays, and he upset these farmers. And so as a way to make them feel better, he did this press conference where he accepted a turkey. So here he is with the turkey, but he never pardoned the turkey. So maybe he ate it. We really don't know. But of course, there's that story of 1863 when the Lincolns received a live turkey for a family feast at Christmas. And Tad adopted the bird as a pet, naming him Jack and teaching him to follow him around as he hiked around the White House grounds. On Christmas Eve, Lincoln told his son that the pet would no longer be a pet. Jack was sent here to be killed and eaten for this very Christmas, he told Tad, who answered, I can't help it. He's a good turkey and I don't want him killed. The boy argued that the bird had every right to live, and as always, the president gave in to his son, writing a pardon for the turkey on a card and handing it to Tad. The boy kept Jack for another year, and on election day in 1864, Lincoln spotted the bird among soldiers who were lined up to vote. Lincoln playfully asked his son if the turkey would be voting, and Tad said, "Oh no, he's not of age yet." So that's one of the fabled turkey pardons. In 1963, John F. Kennedy, who you see here, suggested that they should let him keep going and the turkey should see another day. So that was how he accepted his poultry gift. And then first ladies got to get in the fun. So here's Pat Nixon, who accepted the bird in 1973. And that bird was not eaten. It was sent to a children's farm. In 1978, here you can see First Lady Rosalind Carter and her daughter Amy there also accepted a bird that was sent to a mini zoo. So that tradition continued until President Reagan, and it became solidified with George Bush in 1989. And there were protesters there, animal rights protesters, that were upset about this idea of the turkey being accepted and eaten. So he said, this is supposedly the first official turkey pardon. And he said, quote, "But let me assure you that this fine Tom turkey will not end up on anyone's dinner table. Not this guy. He's granted a presidential pardon as of right now and allow him to live out his days on a children's farm not far from here." And that is considered the first official turkey pardon, when George Bush officially pardoned a turkey. So where do they go and how do they get to the White House now? Oops. Here's my share. You can see up on the screen, I've got my turkeys who are staying in a very fancy hotel that is meant to accommodate them. So they have all the turkey amenities that they need at the handy. And there's always two, so there's a backup. And from what we understand, they both get to live out their days, but only one gets the official pardon. So here they are posing with the Secret Service, getting ready to head to the White House. And where do they go? Sometimes they've gone to a university where there's a veterinary school, and they're used for teaching purposes. Sometimes they've gone to a historic site. So here's one of the turkeys that was pardoned that ended up at Mount Vernon. But now those historic sites actually don't accept the turkeys because they're not historically accurate. Turkeys today are fed differently than turkeys were in George Washington's day. So they're bigger and bulkier and have more problems standing and getting around than turkeys maybe in George Washington's time. So now they aren't at places like Mount Vernon. And every year we get these sort of stats about the turkeys. So you'll see them come out next week. These are from 2020. So when President Trump pardoned Cobb, and we learned things about Cobb here, and corn. And sometimes because we have social media now, you can go on the White House website and vote for which turkey you think should be pardoned. So we have in our family guide an opportunity for you to create your own turkey trading card with stats. This was one that we created at our very first turkey pardon. So you can learn when our turkey Nick was born in July. And this turkey likes Detroit style pizza. Oh yeah, that's true. Sometimes they do go to Disney. Isn't that crazy? So that's an interesting fact too. Oops. And here's some more contemporary turkey pardons. You can see First Lady Melania Trump was involved. The whole family was here. Joe Biden pardoning a turkey. But now we're going to get to our official turkey pardon. So we are going to pardon our turkey together. So if you were working with me in person, we'd probably draw our own turkey and create a turkey. But today we have this turkey with us. He's going to be our turkey, or she, that we will pardon. What should we name our turkey? Do you have any suggestions in the chat for our turkey this year? Who it should be? Usually with the turkeys, we only have one. We probably should get another one, so we have a pair to choose from. Sometimes there'll be peanut butter and jelly, corn and cob, two things that go together. We have Gobbler, Waddle, Ava, Commander Gobbler, Gobble. So while you're suggesting names to me, I have a picture up on the screen of former President Barack Obama and his daughters, Sasha and Malia. And one of the great things that would happen when Obama was president, and he would do this turkey pardon, is he always had his daughters involved. And they were preteens and teenagers during that time period. So they would participate in it, but their dad would tell these corny jokes, right? He liked to joke, and especially around an event like this. And they would kind of roll their eyes, be like, Dad, that's, even though their dad was the president, that's weird, Dad. So we always start our pardon with some corny jokes. So I have some dried corn here, and I don't have someone here to pull my jokes out, but I'm going to pull some jokes out. And in honor of our past first family, we're going to read some jokes. Okay, so I'm going to read 3. What did the turkey say to the computer? Google, Google, Google. So these are my dad jokes. Why did the turkey cross the road? It was Thanksgiving Day, and he wanted people to think he was a chicken. What do you call a turkey on the day after Thanksgiving? Lucky. So those are my jokes. So someone got the lucky. Maybe we should call him Lucky. What do you think? We've got Lucky, Gobble. Oh, I like cream cheese and Gilda. Those are all good. Let's go with Commander Gobble, because we've got more than one Gobble. So we'll do Commander Gobble. We're going to pardon him today. And what we're going to do, we will read our official turkey pardon poem, and that's how we will wrap things up. If I can find it, here it is. So let's see. Before I do that, I've got one last poll. While we're thinking about turkey, while we're thinking about pardoning a turkey, I just have, what is your favorite Thanksgiving food? While we're getting ready to pardon our turkey here. And if you want to tell me, last but not least, but lastly, as our poll, what you would like to eat, what you're looking forward to eating next week. And we'll cover Commander Gobble's ears while we talk about that. And these are some jokes. I'll read you one more joke. Some of the things that President Biden said this past year, because he kind of continued these jokes. And these are kind of funny. Instead of getting basted, these 2 turkeys are getting boosted. So related to the pandemic. It is important to continue traditions like this to remind us how from darkness there is light and hope and progress. And that's what this year's Thanksgiving represents. But before he spoke, the turkeys wandered freely on the lawn as the smell of hot apple cider wafted through the air. A band played avian-related tunes, including Leonard Skinner's Freebird and Birdland by Weather Report to a crowd of White House staff. And I'll show you some of those so you kind of get the feel. Oh, there's my corn. So here's what it looked like. So you get a feel, and you'll be able to stream it live. I believe it's going to be this coming week, probably Monday. And I will end my poll and share things with you. Oh my goodness, everybody loves stuffing. I do too. I'm going to share that with you. So stuffing, mashed potatoes. Oh, I forgot mac and cheese on my list. You're right. Good one. And I only included pumpkin pie for dessert, but if we did something special related to dessert, or if you wanted to tell us. So Commander Gobble, cover your ears. We are ready to pardon our turkey. So this is a poem that I really like that is inspired by the turkey pardon. And we are going to end our program with that. And I'm so glad you could join us. And I hope you learned a little more about the history of a cool woman named Sarah Hale, a little bit more about the history of the way we celebrate Thanksgiving in this country and the idea of gratitude. So this is a poem by Caroline Barnes, Pardoning the Turkey. Like a priest about to bestow a blessing, the president raised his hand over the blue and crimson head of the snow white turkey, flashed his winning smile at the cameras, and said, "By the power vested in me as president of the greatest country on this planet, I hereby grant you a full pardon from the Thanksgiving dinner table." The crowd tittered. The president chuckled, then went on. "First and foremost, I pardon you for being a turkey, for fanning your tail feathers to look bigger than you are, for strutting your stuff to impress the lady turkeys, for gobbling nonsense that no one understands, for changing the colors of your wattle and your snood to suit your mood. I, the most powerful man on earth, hereby grant you, turkey, a new lease on life. After this ceremony, you will ride to beautiful Mount Vernon, where you will spend your twilight months living in fame and fortune." The crowd stood up and applauded. The man from the Turkey Federation beamed. The president and his family went back inside the White House. The turkey, whose front half had been engineered to outweigh his back half, rocked on the table to keep his balance. When a soft wind moved the branches overhead, he looked up at them with dark almond-shaped eyes. Then he squatted just a little, as if his thin legs had the strength to launch him, as if his disjointed wings had the power to carry him, as if his flock was waiting there in the lowest branches for him to arrive. So that is our turkey pardon poem. And now, Commander Gobble, we are officially pardoning you for Thanksgiving 2022 on behalf of the National First Ladies Library, by the power vested in me by the National First Ladies Library and the National First Ladies Historic Site. We pardon you, Commander Gobble. So with that, everyone, I want to thank you for attending our Pardon That Turkey program for this year. I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. And I loved sharing this program with you. It was so cool to see so many people from all over the country connecting and sharing what they are grateful for. And it was so cool to see grandparents join their grandchildren from across the country too. That was really fun. So thank you so much for chatting with me tonight. I hope you enjoyed this evening's program. We have one more Fun with FLOTUS program next month. You can go on our Eventbrite page and pull it up to register. We're going to have a great program. I'm going to share the teaching duties with Colleen Christian Burke, who actually helped decorate the White House and wrote a really cool book about pets at the White House celebrating Christmas. So we are going to have a different animal besides a turkey. I think we're going to talk about the Obama dogs and some of the other animals like the Bush dogs and cat that helped celebrate Christmas at the White House. So I hope you can join us then. And with that, I want to thank you for joining us and have a great Thanksgiving. And I hope to see you again soon. Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.